Hello everyone, today we're going to be looking into simple statement keywords. Things like if-else statements, different types of loops, and switch cases. Let's get right into it. So let's start off by creating a folder. We're going to name this folder scripts, so that we have a nice place to store all of our scripts. In here, we're going to create our script. I'm going to call my script main, because the name doesn't really matter in this case. We're going to start off by opening Visual Studio. Now that we have Visual Studio open, I like to start off by doing two things in my script. First, I like to remove these comments, because we don't need them. Then, I hit Ctrl K followed by Ctrl D. What that does is it moves the scopes into a position that I am more comfortable with. I save my script, hitting Ctrl S, and we're going to start off by using our if statement. And this statement always returns a bool. It checks whether the statement that you enter is true or false. Let's do this by creating an integer. We'll give this index the range attribute. Range between 0 to 10. Now index can be between 0 and 10 set in the inspector. Let's also give it the serialized field attribute so that we can see it in the Unity inspector. Now that we are ready to use our index in the inspector, we can start off by writing our if statement. If index equals 0. Debug.log index is 0. What this does, it checks whether index is 0, so whether this integer is set to 0. If it is, it returns true and does this. If it is not, it continues on. Now let's write an else if statement. Else if index equals, let's say 4. Debug.log index is 4. Now, what if we don't want our game to log 4 or 0? What if we want to know whether our index is not 0 or 4? We can do that by typing another else if statement. Index is not equal to 0 or index is not equal to 4. Debug.log index is, and we'll add the index.toString. Now, no matter what number it is, it will debug.log index. Let's head into our game. Right now, nothing will happen if I launch the game, because the script is not assigned. Go ahead, create an empty game object, and we'll call it Game Manager. Let's reset the transform, just so it looks a bit nicer in here. And we'll assign our main script. Now if we run our game, nothing will happen on the screen, but in the console, a lot is happening. It's saying that index is 0. Now if we set index to 4, we'll see the other prints index is 4. If we set it to 8, it will print index is 8. Set it to 2, index is 2, and so on. Now that we have our if statement working, it's time to look into for loops. A for loop is something that allows you to run a block of code until the statement that you entered is false. Let's go back to Visual Studio. Let's comment away our if statements, because we don't need them anymore. Let's make our for loop. The quickest way of doing this is by typing for, then double hitting tab. It automatically fills in everything that you need for a for loop. You'll see that length is erroring, because it's assuming that we want to use the length of something. However, in this case, we don't necessarily want to. We'll just set it to 10. So now what this means is we're creating a new variable called I. I is by default set to 0. We can look at this part as our if statement. It is checking if I is smaller than 10, then add 1 to I each frame. Now, what this means is that we're creating a new variable called I. It is set to 0. As long as I is smaller than 10, we keep adding 1 to I. This block of code is going to be running 10 times every frame, because we've got an update. An update is called every single frame. Now if we type something like debug.log, I'm inside of a for loop. We close it off, save the script, and we'll head into our game. Back in Unity, you should see that our index is still here. However, it doesn't do anything anymore. If we launch our game, you can see that instead of increasing the number by 1 every frame, it is now increasing by 10 every frame. If we stop this and set this to 100, go back to Unity, you see that it now increases by every 100. For loop is called 100 times every frame of update. Now that we have a for loop completed, let's move on to for each loops. A for each loop can be used to run through every single element in an array or list. We don't need all of this code anymore, so let's just get rid of it. We don't need our index anymore either. Let's get rid of that as well. Let's start by creating an array of strings. Public string, hit the square brackets, and we'll give it a name. We'll call it log messages, and close it out. We'll fill this in later in the inspector. Now down in our update, we're going to type for each and hit double tab to finish the for each loop. We should see var, which means variable. So variable item in collection. What we can translate this to is type name inside of our array, being log messages. So let's change this to string, called string message in log messages. Now we can type debug.log message. Simple. Let's head into Unity. Now that our script is compiled, let's go ahead and clear our console. You see a drop-down menu here called log messages. Size 0. Let's make it into 8. Now we have 8 elements where we can fill in a string. So now we have 8 strings, 0 through element 7. Now if you run our game, you should see that it continuously prints every single one of these messages every frame. Let's enlarge our console a bit so that you can see all of it. Next up, we're going to be looking at while loops. So let's go back to Visual Studio. Again, we don't need this code, and we don't need this. Let's start by creating a private integer. Let's say ducks in the pool. And we'll say that there are 5 ducks in the pool. In start, which is a function that only runs once, we're going to go to while loop. While ducks in the pool is larger than 0, we're going to debug.log. A duck has left. And reduce the amount of ducks in the pool by 1. Now, what you will notice is that void start only runs once. It only runs when the script is being initiated. Update runs every single frame. Let's see if it does. And there you have it. A duck is left 5 times. Now, we're going to look into switch cases. So let's head back into Visual Studio. Again, we don't need our old code, so let's get rid of that. However, we can keep this, but instead of it staying private, let's change it to CRLS field so that we can use it in the inspector again. To start making a switch case, you have to start off by typing switch and then double hitting tab. You'll see that per default, it fills in the expression switch on. However, we don't want to use switch on. We want to use ducks in the pool. It also made a default case, meaning that if none of our cases are true, it will revert back to default. You can use a switch case either with brackets or without. I prefer to use mine with. Now, to start adding cases, we go into our switch case and type case. Now, the index for the ducks in the pool, say 5. So, if there's 5 ducks in the pool, we'll do this. We're going to debug.log. All the ducks are safely in the pool. You'll see the case is erroring because we need to break it. So let's break it. Error goes away and we're good. Let's add another case for 4. again with the brackets, debug.log. We'll say Frank the duck has left the pool, and break it off. Now for case 3 and 2, I don't want to fill anything in. So let's head over to case 1. And we'll debug where are all these ducks heading to. And we'll break it off again. Get rid of the white space here. And in our default, to enter, I lost track of the ducks. So, what it means now, if there are 5 ducks in the pool, it will say all the ducks are safely in the pool. If there are 4 ducks in the pool, Frank, the first duck that leaves, has left the pool. If there's only 1 duck in the pool, so let's head over to case 1. And we'll debug where are all these ducks heading to. And we'll break it off again. Get rid of the white space here. And in our default, to enter, I lost track of the ducks. So, what it means now, if there are 5 ducks in the pool, it will say all the ducks are safely in the pool. If there are 4 ducks in the pool, Frank, the first duck that leaves, has left the pool. If there's only 1 duck in the pool, the console is going to be printing where are all these ducks heading to. If it doesn't know any of these, it'll say I lost track of the ducks. So let's head into our game. Let's go ahead and hit play, and you'll see that all ducks are safely in the pool. If I change this to 4, Frank, the first duck, has left the pool. If I change this to 3, however, you'll see that I lost track of the ducks. I don't know where the ducks are. Then if I go down to 1, where are all these ducks heading to? If I set it to 8, which is above 5 of course, again, I lost track of the ducks. That's the switch case.